All right, after this movie, like, I can't do it anymore. I'm done with Marvel, DC, Star Wars, any superhero fantasy story after this movie. Like, I'm no longer watching any more trailers. I'm done. And welcome to my safe haven. Thank you guys for clicking on the Black Gay Comic Geek channel and joining me for a non-spoiler review of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. If this is your first time coming across my channel, let me introduce myself. Hey, how's it going? I'm Michael. I call myself the Black Gay Comic Geek, and I always say the things that I love to talk about on my channel has blood, sex, gore, and magic, or any variation of the four, which, if you would like to get your own blood, sex, gore, and magic shirt, click the link in the description box below to check out my merch store. Thank you so much for all the people that have bought some Black Gay Comic Geek merch. But with that said, I like to talk about superheroes, I like to talk about comic books, I like to talk about video games, action movies, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books, and of course, if you couldn't tell from the name, I like to talk about black representation and queer representation, or a lot of times the lack thereof in sci-fi, fantasy, video games, comic books, etc., etc. So if that is something that you are interested in, if you are like me and think representation matters and representation equals normalization, and you love seeing black queer nerds giving their opinions in this nerd space or fandom, then please do me a quick favor. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. And if you think you're subscribed, check the button and see if you're subscribed. And if you're not, hit the subscribe button. But whether you're subscribed or not, if you could do me a favor, hit the like button, please. It'll really help with the YouTube algorithm and getting my video out there and the channel out there. But anyway, let's talk about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Like I mentioned, this is a non-spoiler review. And shout out and thank you to Disney and Marvel for allowing me to be able to experience for the very first time the red carpet premiere. I was able to bring, as you guys know from my channel, Fantastic Frankie. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll be able to see all the pictures and videos from the red carpet event. It was great. It wasn't my first time at LA, but you know, I haven't been to LA for a while. I had fun. It was a nice experience. So yeah, thank you to Marvel and Disney for that. Hopefully it won't be the last one. Thor: Love and Thunder, I'm looking at you. Black Panther, I'm definitely looking at you. And then other movie studios, hit your boy up. Allow me to bring some black, queer, nerd, mussy energy to these vastly straight white male invites to these red carpet premieres. So come on, black queer nerds, we out here. Invite us. Anyway, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Dr. Stephen Strange casts a forbidden spell that opens a portal to the multiverse. However, a threat emerges that may be too big for his team to handle. That's a weird synopsis for the movie, but it's the official one, so I'm gonna go with it. And this movie is directed by Sam Raimi, who a lot of people know him as the director of the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man trilogies, but Sam Raimi got his start by doing a lot of horror movies. The Evil Dead franchise, Drag Me to Hell, this dark superhero movie, Darkman, the movie that I really enjoyed that I think was underrated, the supernatural thriller, The Gift, and other movies. And it's very important to mention that because, like, this movie is definitely the darkest of all the Marvel movies. And not even just the darkest, but this movie, you know, I always talk about the things that I love in my fantasy as blood, sex, gore, and magic. There's not any sex. There's not a whole lot of blood, but there's definitely some blood and gore and magic in this movie. Obviously within the frames of this movie still being PG-13, but this movie is brutal. Like, there are deaths and kills in this movie, and they die bloody, pretty much. And I was here for all, and I wasn't expecting that, especially from a Marvel movie, because even look at something like Moon Knight, which, and the character of Moon Knight is pretty brutal, but yet this was way more brutal and way more bloody and way more gory than even Moon Knight on Disney+. Moon Knight is like, compared to this movie, Moon Knight is basically a Saturday morning cartoon. And that's something I was not expecting, especially from a Doctor Strange movie. And I was here for it. I loved it. And so with that, because of the darkness and the tone shift of this movie, like, a lot of times when you think of MCU movies, a lot of them are very jokey and they keep the humor light. Yeah, with this movie, there were the jokes thrown in to cut the tension and the MCU humor, but for the most part, there wasn't a lot of that in this movie. This movie was very serious and more dark considering the grand circumstances of everything that was going on. And I like that. I know there were some people that don't really care for that, because I've noticed there's some people that were saying this movie is way too Sam Raimi, and so they didn't like that, but I was here for that. Like I wish Sam Raimi was allowed to go further with this movie. Like, I'm always here for rated R movies, and I definitely feel like Marvel and certain movies and certain characters could really lean into more rated R territory. Not so much with cursing, but like just the level. Like, this movie could have been rated R, and I would have been 100% fine with it. Now, obviously, with this movie being a Doctor Strange movie, of course, you see the return of the characters introduced in the first Doctor Strange movie, like Dr. Stephen Strange, of course. We see Wong. If you see in the trailers, you see the return of Baron Mordo. And you even see the return of Rachel McAdams' character, Christine, which I was actually surprised about. And then she's not only in the movie, she actually has a pretty prominent role in this movie, which I actually enjoyed her in this movie. And I would like to see more of her character. But also with that, you see the return of fan favorite Wanda Maximoff, WandaVision, and brand newcomer America Chavez, who people would know from the Young Avengers comic books if you are comic book fans. Now, as a black queer nerd, I do have to say, America Chavez is one of the more prominent gay characters in comics, in Marvel Comics specifically. There aren't a whole lot. She's a prominent member of the Young Avengers. But however, in this movie, in the MCU, and I'm not talking spoilers, but you would never know that in this movie. And ultimately, I get it. This is her first introductory movie, and this isn't her movie. This isn't a Young Avengers movie. So of course, they're not going to focus a whole lot on her, but this is why I bring it up, and this is my fear. And I made a video about this on TikTok, but this isn't TikTok, it's YouTube. My biggest fear is I find it very curious because they didn't really go into the fact that she is also queer. Like, I just find it very curious that out of all the characters that they've introduced so far in the MCU that are Young Avengers, like Kate Bishop, Eli Bradley, Billy Kaplan, Tommy Shepard, America Chavez now, and even Cassie Lang. Now the only ones that we're missing are Iron Lad and Hulkling. After that, we have a full set. My biggest concern is, I just find it very curious that the three queer ones, America Chavez, Billy Kaplan, and Tommy Shepard, are all cast as kids under the age of 18, played by actors under the age of 18. Because even when you think of something like Spider-Man, Tom Holland is playing a high schooler, 15, 16-year-old, but Tom Holland is in his 20s. He's like 25. And so anyway, my fear is this is Marvel and Disney's way of giving us the queer characters, but then they could easily say, well, because they're minors, because they're teenagers or whatever, we're not going to go into their relationships or anything like that. Even though Spider-Man's a teenager, and we had 3 movies regarding his romance with Mary Jane and even Liz Allen in the first movie. But guess what? Tom Holland's an adult playing a teenager, as opposed to, like, America Chavez, the character is like 14 and the actor is 14. Obviously, Billy and Tommy are played by like 11, 10-year-olds. And also, as if you can't be queer as a teenager. Like, I knew I was gay since I was probably like 5 years old. Everybody's talking about Princess Jasmine. I'm looking at Aladdin. And obviously, got to get this out there too. Being queer is more than just sex, who you go to bed with. So that's a lot of things that people, or straight people specifically, think of when they think of like queer romance or queer relation. They instantly think about sex. And I'm like, y'all think about sex more than I am. So that's really a fear that I have with regards to these characters. Because like I said, you wouldn't even know the character is a lesbian from this movie. And not that that's a major problem, because that's not necessarily the focus, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. So that's just something I noticed. Let alone the fact that America Chavez is also Afro-Latina, and yet they didn't cast an Afro-Latina woman as America. But that's a whole nother conversation. I've talked about that ad nauseum from the moment Xochitl Gomez was cast. But speaking of Xochitl Gomez, like, despite the fact that I wish she was Afro-Latina as America Chavez, I did appreciate and enjoy and like what she brought to the table of America Chavez. And knowing that we're not getting an Afro-Latina America Chavez, which is hella problematic and hella frustrating, because like, black Latina folk do exist. Stop whitewashing them. And I get Xochitl Gomez is Latina, but she's not Afro-Latina. But despite all of that, and I shouldn't even have to say despite all of that, but I do like Xochitl Gomez, and I did like her performance. And she is very likable. She is charming, and I would like to see more of her in the future, in future movies. But also my big disappointment regarding the casting of Xochitl Gomez, a 14-year-old playing America Chavez. Kate Bishop and America Chavez are best friends in the comics, and I feel like we're not going to get that dynamic with Kate Bishop because Kate Bishop is a grown woman. I don't see her being best friends with a 14-year-old. That would be kind of weird. Unless they decide to age her up eventually, which they kind of did with Cassie Lang in the Ant-Man movie. She started as like a 10-year-old, but now she's basically in her 20s, and Cassie Lang is also a member of the Young Avengers. She's the superhero known as Thatcher. This movie takes place after Spider-Man No Way Home, and with Spider-Man No Way Home, what happened? The multiverse is open, so this goes more into that. And so with that, if you don't know anything about America Chavez from the comics, she has the ability to open what is called star-shaped portals to travel the multiverse. She can go anywhere in the universe that she wants. And so a power like that, a lot of people would want that power. A lot of people would covet that power because you could wreak havoc across the multiverse. And so that's where Doctor Strange and Wong comes in, trying to protect America Chavez. And so that's where we get the introduction of Wanda. He goes to Wanda to help him protect America Chavez. And I gotta say, like, what they did with Wanda in this movie, I was like Wanda ate. Like, I absolutely loved Elizabeth Olsen in this role. Like, she was acting. Like, she took the performance that I love from her in WandaVision and brought it up to, like, Elizabeth Olsen killed it as the Scarlet Witch. Like, she left no crumbs on the table. Like, goddamn. And I'm very curious of what they're gonna do with Wanda after this movie. And I've also heard there's rumors that she's gonna get a solo movie, especially with like Agatha Harkness getting her own movie. And we also know Agatha Harkness, spoilers for WandaVision, but Agatha Harkness is still in Westview. But yeah, when y'all see Wanda in this movie, like, yeah, it was a lot of moments, like jaw drop. Like, I'm all for seeing powerful characters cut loose, and you got to see that with Wanda. She got to cut loose. Now, with that said, because I did see this movie twice. I saw it at the red carpet premiere, and then I went again last night, Thursday night. And I will say, like, going back to what I said in my intro about no longer watching trailers, like, that's one of the things that disappointed me or like lessened my hype for this movie, whereas a lot of it was revealed in the trailer. And the problem that I have with this movie, as opposed to like something like a Spider-Man No Way Home, where they did show a decent amount in the trailer, but Spider-Man No Way Home was almost a 3-hour movie. So there was still a lot in that movie that they didn't show. Like, spoilers, even though we all knew it was going to happen, they still didn't at least show Toby and Andrew were going to be in the movie. However, in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, like, they name dropped the Illuminati. Like, there's so many things that they showed in this movie that I'm just like, why did you show? You didn't have to show me that. And so, like, when you had the big reveal in the movie, I was just like, oh, like, I saw that in the trailer. Like, I wasn't as excited. And this is why I'm like, I need to be like, because my Fantastic Frankie, who I went with to the red carpet premiere, she doesn't like to watch trailers. She doesn't watch trailers. And so that level of hype that I wanted to feel, that's what she felt because she didn't know, because she didn't watch the trailers. So that's why I'm like, you know what? I'm not watching trailers anymore for a superhero movie. At least, like, when it comes to, like, smaller movies, like Netflix movies or non-superhero movies, yeah, sure, I watch trailers. When it comes to, like, Star Wars, like, I didn't see the Obi-Wan trailer that dropped yesterday because I'm like, I'm not doing it anymore because I'm tired of trailers revealing too much. And so that kind of, like, lessened my hype and overall enjoyment of the movie because I'm just like, yeah, this was in the trailer. And you could tell by the way they revealed it in the movie that it was supposed to be a surprising moment. Now, with that said, there were still a couple of surprises in this movie that they didn't show in the trailer that literally had me screaming in the theater in the red carpet. Not just me, but the whole audience, where I was just like, what? With that said, though, stay off the internet, stay off of Twitter specifically, and stay off of Instagram if you do not want to know, because there are spoilers. People have been spoiling the movie long before yesterday, which is the premiere in theaters, at least in the US. So after today and yesterday, like, especially now that the movie's officially out, all bets are off. So more than likely, people are going to be like, even yesterday when I logged onto YouTube, right in my recommended feed, there was like spoilers regarding Doctor Strange. So it's like, why are you showing me this, YouTube? Like, trash. But yeah, so yeah, like, be wary of the internet. Come to my channel, but everything else, be wary of the internet if you're not planning on seeing this movie this weekend. But yeah, but with that, I also feel like, because not even just the trailer's revealing too much, but like, this is the shortest movie of all the Phase 4 movies. But yet, this is the Multiverse of Madness. I definitely feel like this movie could have used a little bit more runtime to flesh out certain things and explain certain things, because for the most, like, you think about like the first act, the movie kind of like, the movie just starts. Because it's only 2 hours, the movie like goes. But I do feel like there's things, especially in the beginning, there's things that are just completely rushed just so we can get to the next part, let's pass all of this. Well, I'm like, I feel like the movie didn't take its time, especially in the beginning, to breathe a little bit, to get you established and understanding what's really going on. It's just like, okay, move on to the next thing. But yeah, when we get to the second and third act, I feel like that's when the movie really starts to slow down a little bit, despite all the breakneck pace of everything going on, and it gets better for me in those second and third acts. And yeah, like, I can't say anything because of the non-spoiler review. But yeah, like, I will say, because this is, and I said it already, but I was just surprised by the level of horror that was injected into this movie. And I wish they could have gone rated R, because yeah, this movie was basically a straight up horror movie. But yeah, there were moments of body horror, jump scares, like, and then what also made it, the score by Danny Elfman was great. And like, yeah, I did enjoy this movie. I wouldn't say, I don't think I loved it. And part of that is also because of all the things that were revealed in the trailer. But overall, I definitely enjoyed Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I want to see where they go from here with the character of Doctor Strange, with the multiverse, with these characters, Wanda, America Chavez, Wong. And I actually, let me mention that as well. Like, I really love the character of Wong, played by Benedict Wong, and I wish, considering they're going the route of making him the Sorcerer Supreme within the MCU, they do more with him, because, like, obviously in the comics, Doctor Strange is the Sorcerer Supreme, so he gets the majority of the stories written about him, so they're following the comics, so obviously Doctor Strange is the one that's still the protagonist. But like, if you're gonna make Wong be the Sorcerer Supreme, let him do something. He didn't really do anything. Like, he was there and he did kick ass, but like, I wanted more from him. But yeah, for me, because of like pacing issues, and then certain things that I do want to talk about that I can't talk about because it's spoiler, and then I'll talk about that later. So with that said, guys, if you don't have your notifications turned on, hit the bell notification button, because I will be going live with Frankie and Ron on Sunday afternoon, probably 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to go live to talk Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and then I'll give more of my thoughts regarding that. But for me, overall, like I said, I didn't love it, but I really enjoyed it. So for me, I'm going to say Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is a hit, which is still a good score. But with that said, have you guys seen Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness yet? Did you go to the Thursday night screening? Are you seeing it tonight on Friday? Are you seeing it Saturday? Let me know when you're seeing it. Let me know if you saw it, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, if you can, hit the like button. It'll really help with the YouTube algorithm. This is your first time checking out one of my videos. Please check out the other videos on my channel. If you like what you see, please subscribe for more, and hit that bell notification so you're alerted every single time I post a new video. And tell your friends, families, and neighbors about my channel to help me continue to grow. And as always, I will catch you guys next time.